Hello, my name is Nico Bakker and I'm from the Netherlands. I'm going to show you how I found some of my fractals and how I make art with them. I'm obsessed with plane filling fractals such as the tear dragon and the 5 dragon. These fractals have a dimension 2 and touch themselves in the vertices. Many of these types of fractals are based on a triangular or rectangular grid. And I wondered, can you think of plane filling fractals that are not attached to such grids? From the book The Fractal Geometry of Nature by Mandelbrot, I can deduce that for a fractal that has a line segment with length 1 in step 0, and where in step 1 the sum of the squares of the length of all line segments is equal to 1, the dimension of that fractal is 2. That gives an extra condition for my search for fractals with dimension 2 and that touch themselves in the vertices. The first fractal I found has 3 line segments in step 1 with lengths of 1/2, 1/2 of the square root of 2 and 1/2. The special thing is that in step 3 enclosed figures are created. In the following steps these figures keep coming back, smaller and more numerous. In such a figure I recognize a swimming duck, so I've called this fractal duck curve. I found a second fractal which in step 1 has 5 line segments with lengths of 1/2 and 1/4 of the square root of 2. Notice that the contours of both fractals become very similar. Later I realized that I was dealing with a variant of the duck curve, because I had combined step 1 and 2 of that curve. This idea can be taken further to make many more variants of the duck curve. You get more and more different enclosed figures and the contours of the fractals are always the same. I get a completely different kind of fractal when I start working with 7 line segments with lengths of 1/2 and 1/4. In step 2, an enclosed figure is created that looks like a sinking ship with 2 funnels, so I call this fractal Titanic 2. This time the contours of the fractal are very different from the duck curve. The Titanic 3 fractal can also be found with 4 extra line segments. With the Titanic 2 fractal I can make a variant by replacing the middle line segment. Finally, I can make another fractal from the duck curve. In step 3, an enclosed figure is created in which I recognize 2 mountain peaks and a conifer. So I have named this fractal Twin Peaks. A variant can also be made for this fractal, with similar contours. Okay, enough about my new fractals. What does all this have to do with art? Well, some fractals are beautiful enough to be art in themselves. In step 2 of the Titanic 2 fractal, I color in the enclosed figures and take that coloring with me to step 3, creating a transparent hole in which a lot can be seen. This is also possible with the variant of the Titanic 2 fractal. In the duck curve and in the Twin Peaks fractal, it is striking that the enclosed figures have different sizes and are similar, and yet all fit together exactly. That invites me to make tessellations with those figures. I show you some examples. I also glue fractals together, creating a grid. I use such a grid to display a photo. This gives the effect that the photo becomes recognizable from afar and that the fractals can be admired up close. Well, that's all folks. I hope you have enjoyed my story. More information and more art can be found on my website wisbaksels.nl.